All right, what's good? Back with another video, guys. So today we're going to talk about some raw thoughts of, is it possible to be dedicated and have balance? The answer is yes, but also no at the same time. Initially, as a student, I really despised hearing yes and no, or like it depends, or maybe, those kind of answers. But in all honesty, I'm starting to understand it. It's for two reasons. One is that a lot of our definitions are really just relative. What do you mean by balance, first of all? Like, it's different for everybody. Do you even want balance? The other reason is that life is meant to be looked at in a long-term sense. So if you were to look at a long-term sense, then you could see a lot of balance. But if you were to look in the short term, then you may have to grind a lot of days, or every day for most days, or 5 days, Monday to Friday out of the 7 days, and even grinding on the weekend. And then you might say, hey, that's not a lot of balance. So, and you wouldn't be wrong in saying that. So the lessons I've learned come down to understanding that life is just full of different seasons. Think about when you were little, you couldn't wait to grow up, but now that you're grown up, do you wish you were a child again? Probably. While growing up, it seemed like it would take forever to get to where you are now, but lo and behold, here you are. You eventually made it through elementary school, high school, university, and now you're working, maybe. You have to enjoy and be the best you can be in whatever season you're in, because the fact of the matter is it will eventually come to an end and then you'll be somewhere else. So how you perform in the various seasons will dictate how your next season will look. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, like, things change. Like, honestly, like, life is full of seasons. You think that you'll never get there, but guys, time waits for nobody. Eventually time passes. So you want time to pass with you doing the correct things, the things that you should be doing, the things that you know you should be doing, because eventually when time passes, you're going to look back and you want to feel that rewarding feeling that you did what you were supposed to do, and your life is going to shape and unfold based on if you did those actions or if you didn't do them. So how does this even apply? So let's just say that for the next 10 years, we're going to work really hard to set ourselves up for success, whether that's in our career and you want to get better or even move up. Let's say you're in school, you're trying to enter a field, or you just want to build a business. Really, it applies to anything, but just try to mold the ideas to fit to where you are in life. So right now, to use me as an example, I am in my master's, but I really like YouTube, and I really want to build a YouTube channel because I want to help other people. I want to have a platform where I can just share my thoughts, and I eventually want to film my life as well and film other content and other videos too. So for the next 10 years, let's say, or just for like a very long-term kind of mindset, I know I'm going to get my master's, which is it's just going to take another like year basically. Start working, build up my career, but then also develop a business along the way, whether that's something that's going to be the main focus eventually, or just another side thing to supplement my career as my main income in healthcare. That's what I'm doing. I'm working in healthcare. Of course, other stuff's going to be involved. Like, you want to have relationships develop. You're going to have vacations. We're talking about fitness. I'm going to read books and stuff like that too. But I'm just using my working life and like hobbies, trying to turn that hobby into a work kind of, just like, so to speak, like YouTube as a hobby into a career, money-making career eventually one day. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on. So just to kind of recap that. So my long-term goal is that I eventually want to be in a position that I'm financially free. That's really the goal, honestly, guys, so that I just have the choice to do whatever I want. Not that I don't want to work, but I don't want to have to work if I don't want to. I want to be able to choose to work on what I want to work on. And I really want to just enjoy life and who I have in my life. So that's my long-term. And as far as enjoying life, the joy is in the journey. The joy is not in achieving your goals, because if you're only taking joy in achieving your goals, there's so much space of time where you're working on your goal where you're then not happy. And then if you achieve your goal, and even if you reset new goals and you keep moving the bar up and up, then you're technically really only happy for short bursts of time, and then you're unhappy again for a long period of time till it takes you to reach your goal. And chances are, if you keep moving your goals up and up, you're a very ambitious person, so you're gonna have higher and higher goals. And if you have higher and higher goals and you just keep not getting satisfied, then you don't live a very good life, and you could be very successful. So just remember, the joy is in the journey. What I have to accept right now is that I may have to work harder now, but then I get the opportunity to work less later if I choose to. I get to enjoy more selectively enjoyable tasks later in life, but first I got to do what I got to do. So if you imagine that the several years are a grind, say the next couple years till I get into my career, finish school, and build up YouTube when I can, because it's hard to build it up on the side when you have so much to do. Especially with this program being an accelerated program, it's a very heavy course load. But really, you could think right now in this 2 to 3 period of time, in that first year working, when I'm doing that very hard learning curve to learn something new, like you could think, well, it's not really balanced. But then the last few years in my system for the 10 years is developed, and it's way easier to be successful because I'm way more confident in my career. It's almost like the back of my hand at this point. I'm going to be a perfusionist, so I'm going to be pumping cases week after week, and then eventually you just get so good at them, it just becomes like a routine. And then I'm going to get better at YouTube. My quality of videos is going to go up. My comfort behind the camera is going to go up. My ideas are going to improve. All of that will improve. My consistency will improve because I'll learn how to be consistent, and I would have developed that habit of being consistent because I would have worked on it for so many years. Well then, that is more balanced. And not to mention the fact that I won't have to study. So it's just really working, and then I don't have all that extra time that I need to spend working outside of like school hours. And not to mention the fact that when you're studying, you have to spend a ton of hours, let's face it, more than if you were like working. So I can work, leave work at work, come home, and have plenty of other time for other things. So that is much more balanced. But you can only get there if you first went through that tough season where it wasn't balanced to get to the season where it is quote unquote balanced. So long term is balanced. The start looks difficult and the end is me being lazy. Not actually. But I can choose if I want to be lazy a little bit more often towards the end, more so than at the beginning. Okay, so this is how my weeks will go. So just to give you guys an idea, and honestly guys, it's really simple. You guys already really know what to do. The difference is really just doing it and not quitting. Also, you need to improve over time. So for the most part, Monday to Friday is my time to grind. If you're in a career that has different shifts, just modify this. If you need to look at your week in terms of like a 2-week period because you're like a 4 on, 5 off kind of thing, or a week on, week off kind of thing, just modify it to that. Really, we want to determine that when you have that free time, the goal is to prioritize work. Or if you're working and you're not in school, then when you're at work, you're prioritizing work and building up your career and getting better at what you do. So I want to get my school and YouTube stuff done before other stuff that's priorities. And when I do that stuff, I want to be fully focused. Now that's a challenge in and of itself. I want to cover a video later in the future talking about how to improve your focus, but you want to be fully focused. So when I wake up, after my meditation, short reading time, and breakfast, I'm straight into studying for like 4 to 6 hours with small breaks in between and a longer one as well. Now for the rest of the day, I would do YouTube and I would also gym, whether that's weights or cardio. Then the rest of the night can be spending time with people, but not as much Monday to Friday. More so saving this for the weekend, so therefore either studying again or working on YouTube for a bit, like right now. I've had a full day of classes, I've hit the gym, and now it's my little bit of time to work on YouTube because that's the amount of time that I have available for today to just make a video, do a little more studying before bed, chat with my family for a little bit, and then go to bed early because I have to get up super early the next day. It's a grind, but honestly, it's such a privilege. I'm so glad. I've eliminated so many distractions in my life so that all I basically have to focus on is putting in the work. And I put in the work, guys, for this last semester, and I pushed so hard, like so hard for so many weeks, for so many months, especially towards the end of it. I really pushed really hard. And honestly, I pushed through the feeling of me basically thinking that I couldn't get through this, but I pushed through it anyways. And I tell you, the rewarding feeling, the dopamine hit after was beyond like words. Like just knowing that I pushed as hard as I could and I pushed through even the thought of quitting, and the rewards that I got from it, like I got really good grades, I improved my skills a lot in my field, and just the feeling that I felt after was just such a rewarding feeling that I know that that is worth it. And the pain of regret is much worse than the pain of hard work. And I know that the rewarding feeling that's down the road after the hard work is so rewarding and so worth it. So I'm more than willing to put the work in because I know I want to get that feeling again. Not to mention the fact that you're getting that feeling because you're actually accomplishing real things in real life. So that's my Monday to Friday. Saturday to Sunday, I'm basically doing a little bit less work and a little bit more free time. So whether that free time is enjoying a little bit of stuff on my own, or building up relationships again, like hanging out with friends and family, doing a little bit more of something to get a little more balance. Despite having that short-term grind mode, there's still some time to unwind because you don't want to burn out. So it's just shifting the focus and just lifting your foot off the gas pedal, but still having your foot on the gas, at least for, like a certain amount of time. And then eventually, you could talk about weeks where you work a little bit less, even less than the 2 days or whatever. And then we could talk about having like a Saturday off, a Sunday off, and things like that. You really just kind of have to gauge it. But that's roughly my skeleton that I'm trying to focus on. Monday to Friday, grind mode, Saturday, Sunday, basically half day grind, then spend the other half of the day working more so on the other things that you pushed aside on that Monday to Friday. So relationships, potentially YouTube, whatever. And a little bit of R&R, relax and, what's the other R? Relax and recover, I think, right? Relax and recover. So let's say now I have a day where I go to the hospital for an observational visit. Well, then it's about priorities here. So maybe this day I study a little bit less, doing a little bit less YouTube, but I'm still showing up because the schedule is not the same. So I have to modify it. And since the priority is working on school, I spend most of my free time getting done what I need to get done for that day for school. And if I have spare time, I'll work on YouTube. Even if it's just 20 to 30 minutes, it still counts because days like this will repeat themselves many, many times throughout the week, throughout the month. And if you show up, all of these little efforts over a month, over a year will add up and they will make a massive change. So don't skip these days just because they're a small amount of time to put in work. All of this work adds up, I guarantee it. So, and I typically like to chat with my family a little bit in the night, Monday to Friday. I have a little bit of time to chat with people, but maybe this is the day that I don't really hang out with anyone, or I don't really chat with anybody. Like, people don't really know what I'm up to. Maybe that's the sacrifice that I need to make. So you kind of have these different boxes, these different groups in your life, and you just have to figure out which one you're going to pull up, which one you're going to pull down on what day, based on what your priorities are, and understanding if you're in a season of grind mode versus a season of relaxation mode, and just trying to interplay between all of those groups and figuring out what you need to put your focus on, what you need to pull your focus off of for something else, and just kind of fine-tuning things in your life and not overthinking this, just really understanding that it's all about priorities. Small wins add up, and just putting the work in. Because remember, this video is talking about working hard, but still trying to have balance. So that's how I do it, guys. Monday to Friday is hard work. Saturday, Sunday gives me that balance in a time of being unbalanced. I get balance in my unbalance. Because realistically, we can't all work 24 hours a day, or you can't work the whole time that you're awake, no distractions forever. It's just not possible. You're gonna burn out at some point, and you're not gonna enjoy life. What's all this hard work for if you can't have people in your life to enjoy it with? What's all this hard work for if you can't actually stop and enjoy the fruits of your labor? It's not all about making money. It's not all about accomplishments. It's about other things in life. You accomplish not just in your career, but you accomplish in relationships, in other things in your life, in personal development. There's so much other stuff to focus on, right? And your health is your wealth. So if you're putting your health on the back burner to accomplish goals and work and stuff like that, then it's actually really not worth it. So yeah, right now is a season of really hard work, but I'm still finding balance in that time. And I'm doing this for the long term, that I won't have to grind as hard if I don't want to. And therefore, in the long term, my life is balanced, but I could only have gotten to that long-term spot if I first went through this tough mode. So being willing to make a sacrifice and just working hard, gritting it out, basically embracing the pain, making it through this difficult time so that my life can be better later on, and so that my life doesn't have to be as difficult later on. That's delayed gratification. Giving up the pleasures of today for the joy and for the pleasures of tomorrow. That's pretty much what it is. So, yeah, so small wins add up, guys. Don't forget that. So Think priorities and consistency. Like I was saying before, show up and do some rather than none. When priorities shift, the time that you allot also shifts. Small wins are so common in life, therefore make a big difference. Therefore, they make a big difference. Imagine all these added up, like I was saying before. Now imagine if you just skipped. 0 plus as many zeros as possible is still 0. It doesn't amount to anything. So it's not about spending the whole day doing these things, but it is most of the day, most days. Right? And that's because you eliminate distractions so that your spare time, you're basically working on your goals. But some days you won't be able to work most of the day or the whole day like you have planned in your routine from start to finish. Like you got your time booked out that you're going to work, you're going to work on YouTube, you're going to do all these things. But some days you're just not going to be able to, or you're not going to want to. And some days you can grit it out and just do it despite your feelings, and that's really important to be able to develop that skill. But then there's other days that you need to realize that 50% of your perfect plan is better than skipping just because you couldn't do your perfect plan. So, and a big thing that I'm trying to push now at this time in my life, guys, is focus work, which allows me to get way more work than I could with more time. And yeah, so that pretty much covers that. You can reduce your input on some days, reduce it to half, but still show up, even on the days that you plan to work Monday to Friday. Maybe a Thursday, you end up doing a half day. So what? Still show up. And then you might have to increase your enjoyment with others to balance things out again, if that's something that you need to do, unless it's a season that you fully commit to. Like let's say you commit to like a month of working like hard, a specific number of days for a specific number of time. You may want to just grit it out and make yourself do that no matter what. Or you may give yourself, basically try to stick to that as much as possible, but then give yourself the flexibility of just showing up when you can on those days that it's really hard to show up for that set amount of time that you decided to. So you really got to kind of play around with that. But just try to put the work in, guys. You know, like when you rest your head on that pillow at night, you know in your mind, and you can lie to other people, but you can never lie to yourself. If you put your head on that pillow at night, you know if you could have done more, or you know if you gave it everything you had for that day, and you know if you're happy with what you did for that day. You know if you're happy with your effort for that day. So if it was a tough day and you worked the whole day that you were supposed to, you're gonna feel so rewarded. Even if you show up and do the best that you can, you're gonna feel so much better than not have shown up at all. And right now, the goal for me is to do this for months, and then maybe here and there I can have a more relaxed week. I'm doing 75 hard right now, so I'm basically doing 2.5 months where I pretty much grind, but then have my relaxation on Saturday and Sunday, like I was saying before, where those are kind of like half days, depending on if I can have those half days. And if I can't have those half days on the weekend, then I'll shift it to a day on the week to kind of like compensate, depending on when stuff's due for school. Guys, this could be the goal for like a year or two with on and offs, like where you have months where it's grind, you come off, not grind as much, have another month where you grind a bit harder. The time's gonna pass anyways, and imagine if you put this kind of work in, where you would be in life. Now, as you get successful, it's easier to keep success and it's easier to become even more successful. It's kind of the mental thought of it's harder to get from 0 to 100 than it is to get from 100 to 1,000. Once you get that ball rolling, it's much easier to make improvements, and it's more addicting to continue to work hard because you see more results, like bigger results. You're reaching newer levels, and you're also reaching them quicker. So it's much more addicting, the success that you get later on anyways. So that is also why it continues to push you to continue to work hard and continue to work even harder. So this is now where you can where your life can change to where you can work a little bit less but still make a lot of money and be able to enjoy other things in life, such as spending time with people or giving back in some way by volunteering. So set a disciplined work week, but if you can't follow it, still show up. I'm repeating the same things over and over in different ways because I think it's so important. A lot of the times we know these concepts, we just need to be reminded of them. And then set up periods where you go all in, like I was saying before, but still have some way of unwinding, which is really important, even if it's a really strict schedule like me with my Saturday and Sunday. So for me, just bringing it back to me, so hypothetically I can get my master's in 2 years, start working, and now I don't really have to study nearly as much. So now it's a little bit easier, but I had to put in that tough work to get this to this easier stage. But now I can still have like a difficult stage, but now I can put that extra time that I was using to study into YouTube. See what I mean? Now it's a different season. I'm still working maybe just as hard, but now it's on something else. And then the mental work, the mental focus and the capacity and everything is different because now I'm shifting from learning about school topics to learning about something that I'm using as a hobby to potentially become a career. So it's a different kind of work, but it's still hard work. If I didn't grind to get through those 2 years, the next season from school to working to now working more on YouTube, it would not look the same. Now I can work way more on YouTube to progress it from here to here so much quicker. Within the next 2 years, maybe I'm making money online, so I can decide to pick up less shifts and build YouTube on those days off. Then maybe another 2 years, I'm making enough money online to make this my main priority. Then maybe I have to shift into a season of 3 months to build up something within the business. The goal isn't necessarily to do less work, guys. It's to be able to choose what you want to do. So eventually my work is a choice, and since it's all fun, then it's not gonna feel like work. But now I can decide to relax more, and that was only possible from the previous work that I did. And if I don't have to study anymore, that frees up a lot of time on off days where I can work a lot on YouTube. So now the progression will look differently, adapt to the seasons. But my family life will look different at that stage too. But again, adapt and find a way to win at getting your goals done. I'm not setting my relationships aside. I'm still trying to progress those and understanding that sacrifices need to be made. Certain things you need to give up less time on in certain seasons, and then you can bring it back into your life in a heavier capacity once you completed that other stuff that you need to have focused on more for that season. I really want to be in the position where I can choose to work when I want. So whether or not YouTube becomes a money-making thing for me, even if these videos help change one person's life or makes one person's life better, I feel like I would have done my job, because I like to think that if I was that person that would have benefited, let's say in such a profound way, because some topic that I taught them led them to discover something new in their life and improve their life so much, whether it's my words or if it's something that made them think and then find a book that they then read a book and that book opened up so many opportunities in their life, and they started practicing certain principles that led them to improve their life so dramatically, and now they're living the life of their dreams all because of something that initiated with me. That's all I need to know. And the truth of the matter is that's probably gonna happen at one point or another in this YouTube journey with at least one person. And for me, that's enough, because I like to think that if I was that person that benefited, I would have been very happy for my videos. I would have been very happy for the person that led me to the ideas that made me improve my life so dramatically. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, I still like the idea, guys, of having a lot of money, whether it's through this career, and that's all relative too, because you need to be happy with the money that you make, because honestly, money can never be enough. Eventually, like no amount of money will make you happy. So I like the idea of having money and being comfortable, but I still want to have seasons where I do like hard work. I still want to work hard because it kind of fulfills your purpose. You want to be doing something that gives you purpose, and working hard and contributing to society is something that's very important for all of us to do in our own individual specific way that fulfills us. Even having seasons where I work for like a couple of months, like really hard towards something and pushing myself, I really like the idea of that. But again, the whole thing is that balance is all relative. So all this to really just say that answer that you hate hearing from people that are older than you when they tell you yes but no, or kind of, it depends, maybe, whatever. That's what this answer comes down to. So you work hard to balance by having small relaxing things during the week, but then more on the weekend. And then after years, you can increase the relaxation or whatever time frame that is. And then eventually you can get to the point where you can choose when you want to go into grind mode, because you have systems that make you money without you working, and anything in between. So whether that applies to you or not, in whatever fashion it applies to you based on what you actually want to even pursue, then let that apply to you. Just let the principles that I'm hopefully kind of teaching you guys in this video just apply to you. So if your goal is to become a nurse, for example, and then work and then spend time enjoying life on your off days, then do that. then you can decide to pick up more shifts when you want to, when you want to go into a season where you work more and maybe you sacrifice something else to be able to do that. But you don't have to be in a position to build a business. Like, social skills are a skill. Family and friends are relationships that need time to build. We have to decide what we want to improve in our lives. So just have seasons where you focus basically on one thing more than another, but then the idea of understanding that small wins add up, you realize that you don't completely neglect this other thing that you've reduced the time that you're spending with, you just do it less. So you're still building it, but you're building it at a slower rate, and then you switch to building something else at a faster rate, and then you keep switching in these different areas of your life of things that you want to improve, from your career to your second career, to your relationships, to your confidence, to your fitness, whatever it is. So it's basically accepting that you have to work harder at the beginning, but then it becomes easier, and then you get to make a choice how much harder you want to work. If you put the work to be in that position, you got to put the work in to be in that position. Now, it's all relative, like I said before. You have to find a way to balance yourself as you're grinding, because you can relax, but it's just less right now. Take joy in the process, because the season will pass and then you will get to the next one. How you carry yourself in this season determines what your next season will look like, and ultimately how you and your life will shape out. Good luck, guys, and just remember that you have to decide what's important to you and work towards that. It's going to look different for everyone. You have to decide what is important to you and what your life should look like. And you won't even remember the tough times. This is the crazy thing about it. Or you won't really know what you did. Like, you won't really recall too well what you did to get through it. Or you won't really think about it too much. You'll remember what you did, but you won't really think about it too much. You're just going to be happy that you did, and you're just going to enjoy the life that you have as a result of you putting in that work and not giving up. This is why it's so important not to give up. Not to mention the rewarding feeling you get after you've worked so hard for something. It's hard to top that. Like I said, with me pushing so hard in school, it was hard to top that feeling that I had after when I achieved the result that I wanted, and then also knew mentally that I pushed so hard and discovered like how persistent I can be. What tops that? Maybe a hot girl? Maybe that's about it. So should you have balance? Yes, but look at it in terms of long-term balance. You'll have seasons of hard work, seasons of less work. Even in the seasons of working hard, you need to have some time to relax in order to be able to push to a high level. Otherwise you'll burn out. If you put this work in, you can enjoy the next season, which is only made possible with your hard work. This is all relative to your goals, and it's all relative to what you want your lifestyle to be. Plain and simple. If you don't have what you want, then work until you get it. I'll say that again. Plain and simple. If you don't have what you want, work until you get it. Remember that the joy is in the process. It's all about creating a system that you enjoy, which will ultimately lead you to the goal that you desire. Set it and forget it. You'll get the goals if you just focus on putting in the work. It's not about the goal to get the thing. It's not about the goal to get the thing. It's the goal to stay in the game. Otherwise, you get your goal and just quit. And what's the point in that? You want to be able to continue to set goals which give you direction. That's what goals are. They give you direction. You know where to aim your arrow at, but you want to make it so that you want to make it who you are. You want an identity shift. So you're not just trying to achieve a goal, you're trying to become that person that would do the things that would get that result. So you're not necessarily trying to get in shape, you're trying to shift your identity to a person that is a fit person, a person that's in shape, a person that does the things that you want to do to get in shape. Those are the things that you would do, and as a result, you get the result of being in shape, because that's just the kind of person that you are. You're the kind of person that eats healthy, treats themselves with junk food moderately, and works out consistently. That's the type of person that you are. Therefore, you do those actions, and you're going to get the result of the body that reflects those actions and that identity. You are a person that has these good habits. They just lead to good outcomes in your life, even if you don't plan for them. So you can't plan all the goals, all the outcomes, all the results. But if you do good habits, good actions, and you let them compound, eventually you're going to get what you plan for, maybe exactly what you planned for, maybe a different version of it, plus all the other things that you didn't think about that are positive that you're going to get from doing those positive habits. And that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Another Kenny's Raw Thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought about this topic. I like to repeat myself a lot in different ways because honestly, like I said before, we just need reminding. We don't necessarily need to learn a bunch of new concepts. But if you learned something new, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.